Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. My name is Joris and today I am here with the fourth part of my series of 2025 about European ETFs that invest towards European companies. And this time I'm going to talk about the most favorite kind of dividend ETFs that there are around, in my opinion, and that is the quality dividend ETFs. So in this series I'm only talking about European ETFs that invest into Europe, and I have in total 41 ETFs. So far I have discussed 19 of them, and in this video 8 new will follow. In the next videos then I will revisit sometimes some of the previous ETFs that I mentioned, but so far all the ETFs that I'm mentioning are unique to the videos, and they are all UCITS ETFs. They distribute a dividend, of course, in this channel, and they are not swap based replicated. If you know any other European based ETF that distributes a dividend and is not swap replicated that I missed besides those 41 that I'm going to talk about in this series, please comment the ticker or the ISIN code down below in the comment section, and I promise you next time when I revisit this series I will include that ETF for sure. I'm always looking out to expand my list of ETFs that I'm following for my channel, so if you can help me, be welcome to do so. In the first video I discussed 5 ETFs that invest towards the MSCI Europe Index. Then in the second video I talked about 8 ETFs that invest towards the STOXX 50, so it's more concentrated than the MSCI Europe Index because you only have 50 companies. And you also had in that video the STOXX Europe 50 ETF, only one of that. And then in the last video I talked about the STOXX Euro 600 ETFs, 3 of them, and 2 FTSE Europe ETFs. And in this video, it's the second one of the 6 videos that I'm making about ETFs that track diverse indexes. I'm going to talk about ETFs that have quality or prime or aristocrats in their title. And yeah, as I said in the beginning of the video, I like this kind of dividend ETFs the most. That's what I actually build up our ETF portfolio with. So it's close to my heart, so let's dive into it. And the first one, and this time I again ordered them from the best performing to the least performing based on the last 5 years. And I was really glad to see that LDEG came on top in spite of the last time. Then it was more or less, I think, in the 4th place of the list, and closely followed by FLXD. Now LDEG is clearly in the lead. So the LNG Quality Equity Dividends ESG Exclusion Europe ex-UK UCITS ETF, and it has a total expense ratio of 0.25%. So for quality dividend ETFs, most of the time it is higher. I really don't like it that the total expense ratio is always higher for the more dividend oriented ETFs, because I think it's truly a pity that they are so expensive. I wish they knocked off 0.10% of all those ETFs, and that's just because I invest into them, and the lower the total expense ratio, the better it is in the long term, because it helps compounding for the banks and not for me. You can buy one share for 13.442 Swiss francs on the SIX stock exchange. The dividend is being paid out in euro for all the other ETFs as well in this video, so I'm not going to repeat that again. There are 144 holdings into this ETF, and there is 208 million invested into this ETF. So not that much, but it is increasing fast the last few months, so I'm really happy to see that. It's a sampling type, and in the past year it is up 25.28%. In the past 3 years it is up 78%, and it's only around since the 12th of April of 2021, so I don't have a value yet for the 5-year performance, but next year, once we pass the 12th of April, there will be a number here, and I hope that will be a nice round number of about 100%. But it all depends on the next year, what is going to happen, of course, because we have a lot going on. We have the war in Ukraine, we have Israel and Gaza going on, we have Trump going on, so it's a lot to deal with momentarily on the stock market. So you never know what's happening next. It pays out quarterly dividends, you know that I like that for sure, and the dividend yield is 3.92%. Here you can see the dividend distributions, and once again, as usual in Europe, around June you have the highest payout, so it's either June, July or August that has the highest payout, to see how the quarterly dividend payments are lined up for the ETF. And here, yeah, it's June. And then we can go to the next one, and it's FLXD, another one that my wife and I have in our portfolio. And it's the one that I'm going to buy more of later this next week, in fact, because I'm going to receive the SDGPEX dividend in euros, and this one you can invest towards in euros here on the SIX stock exchange. So I'm going to buy more of FLXD next week. The total expense ratio is 0.25% as well, and there are 50 holdings into this ETF, and there is almost 400 million invested into FLXD. Fully replicated type, and in the past year it is up 20.97%, in the past 3 years it is up 47.16%, and in the past 5 years it is up 87.46%. So it's performing better than the MSCI Europe Index over the past 5 years, and as a dividend investor I really am glad to see that. Pays out quarterly dividends, and the dividend yield is 4.27%. And here you can see the payouts. Once again in June it is the highest one, and yeah, last month we received a really nice dividend from FLXD. With the amount of shares that we only had, we received more than converted more than 100 Swiss francs. Then we can go to QDVX from iShares. So the MSCI Europe Quality Dividend Advanced ESG UCITS ETF. Total expense ratio of 0.28%. It's available on the Xetra, and you can buy one share there for 6.35 euros. You know that I like ETFs that have not so high of a price to get one share. It's really nice for people that don't have a lot of money to invest towards ETFs or stocks, to be able to buy more shares, and then especially for ETFs because it's already diversified on sich. So yeah, you are buying a lot of shares, a lot of companies for 6.35 euros. So there are 75 holdings into this ETF. So with only investing 6.35 euros, you are in fact distributing your money over 75 companies. There is almost 1.1 billion invested towards this ETF. It's a sampling type, and in the past year it is up 5.22%. The past 3 years it is up 38.04%, and in the past 5 years it is up 80%. It pays out 2 dividends per year in the months 5 and 11, so in May and November, and the dividend yield is 2.98%. I really find it a pity that iShares isn't moving this one to a quarterly payment as well, but probably because the price is so low that they don't have really huge amounts to pay out in January and in August, that they decided, okay, just leave them out because otherwise the amounts would be so low and people wouldn't be interested in. So I can understand it completely with a price that is so low. So it's one of my exceptions, in fact, where I think that half yearly dividends is maybe the best way to go for this ETF. Then we can go to XD3E, the Xtrackers Euro STOXX Quality Dividend UCITS ETF. Total expense ratio of 0.30%. Once again, it would be nicer to see 0.20%, but yeah, I can't keep complaining about that. So 26.30 euros on the etc. for one share of this Xtrackers ETF. There are 50 holdings into this ETF and there is 415 million invested into this fully replicated type ETF. The past year it is up 23.21%, the past 3 years it is up 65.39%, and in the past 5 years it is up 79.65%. Here it's a bit strange that this one is coming later because the past year and the past 3 years it is really performing quite nice, but the 5-year performance was less than the previous ones. So that's why it is classified here. You have 4 dividend payments per year. So in the months February, May, August, and November, and you have a dividend yield of 4.21%. And as you can see here, it's actually quite nice distributed until you have August 0.7255 there. So it's always jump somewhere in the quarterly payments of these ETFs always. Bit of a pity, but yeah, it's a pity that so many European countries, companies are really struggling with starting to pay quarterly dividends. So I wish they did it more, but yeah, I can only keep repeating it on my channel. So hopefully one day they pick it up and they start actually doing it as well. Then we can go to another one that is not on the SIX stock exchange, the PR1E from Amundi, the Prime Europe UCITS ETF. Total expense ratio of 0.05%. So you see it is truly possible that a prime dividend ETF is available for a total expense ratio that is fewer than 0.20%. So here Amundi is really outshining all the other ones. You can buy one share for 31.12 euros on the Xetra stock exchange. There are 417 holdings into this one, so it's well diversified as well, but only about 100 million invested towards this ETF. And you have a performance of 7.72% in the past year. The past 3 years it is up 43.50, and in the past 5 years it didn't perform that badly, so up 72.86%. And that's more or less the same as the MSCI Europe Index. So it has more or less the same holdings as well. So 417, so the same amount of holdings, 417. And you only get one dividend per year. I think it was in December, yes. In 2024, you received 0.81 euros per share, which gives a dividend yield of 2.60%. Then you have the EUDV, the Spider S&P Euro Dividend Aristocrats UCITS ETF. So here you have the Dividend Aristocrats, also a sign of really good dividend companies that are in this ETF. Total expense ratio 0.30%. The currency on the SIX is 25.47 Swiss francs. And there are 39 holdings into this ETF, and there is 1.2 billion invested into this ETF. The past year it is up 14.14%, the past 3 years it is up 53.87%, and then unfortunately the past 5 years it is only up 59.77%. It pays out 2 dividends per year in March and in September, and the dividend yield is 3.63%. Here the dividend payments are quite nice, in fact, so it's only 1/3 of the value of the value in September that you get as a dividend, but it's still a nice amount to receive per share for this dividend ETF. And then you have the Fidelity Europe Quality Income UCITS ETF, which performs to only have one ticker symbol, FEUI. Total expense ratio, once again, 0.30%. You have one share for 5.919 Swiss francs on the SIX stock exchange. So once again, nice low price. So if you don't have a lot of money to invest towards the stock market, this one is a really nice one to get a lot of shares from the get-go. And it diversifies your money immediately into 89 holdings. But it's not financial advice. You should always check in what you are actually investing. So certainly go and check out on Just ETF in which companies these ETFs are all investing. If you don't recognize any of the companies in which they invest, don't invest towards it and go and search for another one. And in this ETF, there is only 22 million invested in it. So, and it's been around for a little bit over 5 years, almost 6 years, and only 22 million invested into it. So it's a danger that Fidelity decides to stop this ETF. So you always have to keep that in the back of your mind. I depict all the ETFs that I find, and I think this one is an interesting one. It didn't perform that well over the past 5 years, so you have to keep that in mind as well. But I still believe that every ETF has a purpose, and when you look at the ETF and you like it, you should start investing towards it. And the amount that is already invested into the ETF shouldn't withhold you from investing into an ETF that you like. But you also have to like the past performance, of course. It's not a guarantee for the future performance, but yeah, it's what you base your opinion upon, of course. So it's not that easy to start investing. I know that. You can look at a video that I made about starting to invest. Maybe I will put the link in the description down below if I remember that I have to put it in this video description. It pays out quarterly dividends in February, May, August, and in November, and the dividend yield is 3.33%. So really nice number, all threes. And these are the dividend payments that it made in the past 12 months. And then we have the EGRW, the WisdonTree Eurozone Quality Dividend Growth UCITS ETF, with a total expense ratio of 0.29%. You can buy one share for 20.22 euros on the SIX stock exchange. There are 93 holdings into this ETF, and there is only 8 million invested into this ETF. Fully replicated type as well. So it's the lowest number that you will see in the whole series. And in the past year, it really underperformed all the other ETFs, minus 0.14%. The past 3 years, it is up 30.16%, and the past 5 years, it's also not that great, up only 42.39%. And you get 2 dividends per year in January and in July, and the dividend yield is 2.24%. And here you can see the past 2 dividend payments that it made already this year. So no more dividend from this ETF to be expected for this year. But then in the beginning of next year, around the first trading day of the year, it's going to go ex coupon, ex dividend date, and 1 week or 2 weeks later, you receive the dividend. So there you have it, all 8 ETFs for the video of today, with LDEG and FLXD on top of them. LDEG didn't have the performance over the past 5 years, but because the 3 years performance is the best of them all as well, and also the 1 year performance is the best of them all, I put it on top just because, yeah, my wife and I invest into it as well, so I have to put it on top. But the second one is one that my wife and I invest towards as well, and that one had a 5-year performance of 87.46%. A big surprise is the Prime ETF of Amundi with 0.05 total expense ratio. Maybe it's more directed towards the MSCI Europe Index that can be the case. It also has a dividend yield, more or less like the MSCI index. So maybe next year I will put it in the MSCI index video instead of here. But when I see Prime, I think it's a really good dividend ETF. So that's why I included it in this video, and maybe that was a mistake. And then EGRW from WisdonTree, yeah, it's a bit a disappointment. So minus 0.14% in the past year. I don't know what happened there, but it's definitely something to look into. And only having 8 million invested towards it as well, that's also not that great for this ETF. And with that being said, thank you for watching to this one. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like this kind of content. You can hit that like button as well, that helps out the channel enormously. I'm really underperforming when it comes to getting likes from my subscribers and my viewers. So if you hit that like button, I thank you beforehand. With that being said, thank you for watching to this one, and see you on the next one on my YouTube channel. Bye.